Greetings, all you fine people out there in X-Wing land. I am back because, surreally, we have new X-Wing content to talk about. It's wonderful to be back. It's wonderful to actually talk about new things we can get in this game. So what we're talking about today is the first, or at least the announcement of the first lot of content we're getting under the XWA. So after Adepticon this year, after the last World Tournaments that Atomic Mass Games is supporting, the XWA will be releasing a standard loadout pack for the Resistance and the First Order. And we had one of those pilots spoiled so far. So what I'll do is I'll front load this video talking just generally about the value of getting a standard loadout pack of First Order and Resistance pilots, and then we'll have a look at the card a bit later on. But before all of that, this video is sponsored by me. Not really sponsored, but hey, I have opened up my own online store for gaming tokens and components. We've been officially open for a few months now, and I just want to quickly thank everyone that has supported that so far. It's been a lot of fun doing this, and all of these early orders means I'm not running this business at a loss. It means I can afford to restock all my materials and keep developing new stuff. So far, we pretty much just have Star Wars Unlimited and X-Wing content, but we'll be working on some new stuff really soon. Watch out for that announcement. But in the meantime, yes, thanks for that. And if you're interested, head to www.geekybits.com.au. So yes, the Evacuation of Dakar, a collection of standard loadout cards for the First Order and Resistance. Now, beyond the one card we have spoiled so far, which will be a TIE Silencer, we don't have everything confirmed in terms of what kind of pilots and ships we're getting. On the Resistance, you got to assume we're going to get Poe Dameron. Who knows, maybe we'll even get a prank call mechanic of some kind. I don't know if I hope that we do or hope that we don't, but that could be quite interesting. As well as probably Star Fortresses, I imagine, and we'll see whether or not we get A-Wings to go alongside that. But what was involved in that event at the start of The Last Jedi, so we'll see what happens there. I do want to comment generally as well, because it's my general observation that Atomic Mass Games have, in much of their Star Wars content, avoided making stuff based on the sequel trilogy. Now, I don't know what the motivation behind that is, but there is the potential motivation there that it could have been in reaction to the negative, frankly toxic fan discourse around movies like The Last Jedi. I'm not going to get angry at Atomic Mass Games for things I'm only speculating about, but at the same time, it is very refreshing. As a content creator, I have to say it is frustrating. Out of all the stuff we talk about to do with Star Wars content, talking about specifically The Last Jedi, it's the one thing where if it's brought up even in passing in conversation in a YouTube video I make, there will inevitably be comments of people who are tripping over themselves to inform me I don't like The Last Jedi. And I gotta say, it's exhausting. Yeah, I know you don't like The Last Jedi. I know you've told me about 10 times now. So, it's refreshing to have content based on The Last Jedi, and hey, if you're not into it, it's entirely up to you. You can engage with the content that you choose to. And just to clarify, I'm not saying you don't have to like The Last Jedi. I know it's very hard to have nuance on the internet, but this is always just a very exhausting conversation that we're sort of forced into as content creators. So yeah, it's great to see content based on The Last Jedi and the sequel trilogy in general. Hope to see more of it very soon. And here's the standard loadout card that we had revealed on Sith Takers, Kylo Ren, from the Evacuation of Dakar pack. I just want to say thank you to Sith Takers for revealing this. I do feel a little bit bad for the gentleman we can see here, because this is the image that we've had circulate around the X-Wing community. Everyone has been staring at the corner of his forehead. You know, that's not something that, if it were me, I'd want to see in several different YouTube videos of people analysing this card. So, let's get rid of the image we have here. Done. And let's replace it with a different content creator. All right, there we go. Okay, we're here. Oh, wait, no, we're Kylo Ren, so we have to be a bit edgier. All right, let's just slink that back and put those on. Righto, let's analyze this card. Kylo Ren, Initiative 5. All of his stats remain the same, except he has an additional force counter. The original version of the TIE Silencer only has 2. Before an enemy ship in your bullseye arc is dealt a face-down damage card, you may spend 1 force. If you do, that damage card is dealt face-up instead. So this is actually the stats and ability of Kylo Ren on the TIE Whisper, glued onto the TIE Silencer, which is very interesting. Also, the frame has auto thrusters. After perform an action, you may perform a red barrel roll or boost. Just like regular TIE Silencers, focus, target lock, boost, and barrel roll. And his quote-unquote upgrades are determination. This is in the talent slot. While you perform a primary attack, if the defender is in your bullseye arc, you may suffer 1 damage to add a focus result. That's very powerful. Malice. While you perform an attack, you may spend 1 force to change 1 focus or hit result to a crit result. If you do, after you perform that attack, if the defender was dealt 1 or more face-up pilot or crew cards, recover 2 force. And proton torpedoes. It's the standard text on proton torpedoes. Comes with 2 charges, attack, target lock, spend 1 charge, change 1 hit to a crit result, 4 red dice at the front forward arc at range 2 or 3. And we know also that this version of Kylo Ren is worth 7 points, which makes him 1 more point than the customizable versions of him in either the TIE Silencer or the TIE Whisper. And that makes a lot of sense, because if you were to try and put an equivalent build on the TIE Silencer, first of all, he just can't take proton torpedoes. They're too expensive. He doesn't have enough squad point costs to do that. So it, of course, makes sense that he has to be 1 more point than he was previously. That extra point gives you... it's, you know, we're talking very figuratively here because these are essentially fake upgrades. They don't exist on a customizable card. You're getting sort of double the amount of squad point costs for his upgrades, plus that extra force. And, you know, you can argue whether that pilot ability is better or worse than the original one. I would say, in general, it is better, and it's certainly very synergistic with what's going on here. I really like the interplay between the pilot ability and the Malice force upgrade here, because there is a lot of overlap between these. Malice also works on attacks when the defender is outside the bullseye arc, but still in the front arc, and the pilot ability also works when other ships are attacking, so long as they're attacking a ship that you have in your bullseye arc. It gives you a lot of flexibility in the way you approach dogfights. It gives you a lot of flexibility in the way that you approach your opponent's squad. In terms of your squad building as well, it does give you a greater incentive to have a larger amount of ships. So if you can fly Kylo alongside a few TIE FOs or TIE SFs, you can get potentially a lot of value out of that pilot ability. There's no once per turn clause. Yes, you are limited to the amount of force tokens you have, but if you're able to use it multiple times in 1 turn, it's paid for itself. The extra squad point on Kylo at that point is just phenomenal. But that's the key thing. You have to remember this is a more expensive version of Kylo. You have to leverage these abilities. And from that point of view, yes, I would say there is a greater incentive to take more ships alongside him. But of course, we are talking about X-Wing 2.5, so you're kind of already heavily incentivized to do that anyway, unless the objectives change radically in the next few months. You know, we're talking the same squad point costs as Darth Vader. 1 more squad point than Fen Rao and the Fang Fighter, and to me this sits just about right. I do love that we're able to sort of like design a Kylo Ren with proton torpedoes, but not have the issues of having a customizable Kylo that can really leverage, especially considering his standard customizable version, uses things like I'll show you the dark side, and you just get so much value out of that kind of function. And to me, this is the real value of standard loadout cards. I think under Atomic Mass Games, oh, look, the XWA have already spoken about this openly. They do agree with this. Standard loadout cards were a bit of an issue, especially in terms of power level and balance. The XWA have already spoken openly about how they have to sort of rebalance everything, make everything else a little bit cheaper or whatever to make sure it all fits in with standard loadout. So we can fly these alongside customizable pilots as well. And as long as we are playing in a meta that doesn't have those inherent power level issues, I really like that we get to do things like this where we can give Kylo proton torpedoes, but there's a built-in cost. You don't get to combo it with those cards specifically. That might be too problematic. And you have to pay 1 more point. You know, the cost of accessing this stuff is you pay 1 more point and you can't customize the rest of the stuff on him. And I think that offers a nice check and balance. Whether or not he's more or less powerful than Vader remains to be seen, but of course those 2 pilots fly on different factions, and it's about kind of the environment that you get to build lists with those various options. And indeed, when we look at the 3 different options for Kylo, I think there's a good justification to take any one of these 3 versions of Kylo. Either his 2 customizable versions, which is, you know, the Silencer with the old ability, or the Whisper with this new ability, or you get this standard loadout and you get to mush them together and get this really cool, powerful, synergistic build that doesn't go too over the top because it is, at the end of the day, a standard loadout card. And that's just really, really cool. But to be honest, I'm not really an FO player myself. Ooh, those lights are bright. So please, in the comments below, apart from what you think about Kylo, what sort of lists would we fly him in? What do we do with that 7-point cost? You know, how do we balance that in the 2.5 point structure? Yes, it is worth pointing out that 7 points is always a bit awkward. Those odd costs don't fit super cleanly with list building in 2.5. That's not really a criticism of Kylo. That's more a criticism of the point structure in general. So I'm not going to get into that in this video. But in the meantime, this is fun. This is very hype. I like what we've seen so far from the XWA, and I anticipate what we'll be getting in the near future. I don't know what they're going to do in terms of a spoiler season, if that's going to be a thing, whether we'll get like one pilot revealed every few days, every week, whatever. I don't know. We'll work it out. Hey, XWA, if you need any help spoiling these, I'm more than happy to help. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to check out www.geekybits.com.au for my new online store. Links down in the description for the Discord so you can come hang out. We can chat all things X-Wing. I also do chat about Geeky Bits there as well, and what we're doing with that and what we're developing. So please feel free to get involved with that conversation. Always good to get more feedback. At this point in time, if you really do want to support the channel, apart from, you know, liking, subscribing, commenting, all that kind of stuff, the best way to support the channel right now is just by making a purchase through Geeky Bits. I no longer run a Patreon, so the goal right now is to sort of use this channel alongside that to sort of help grow that business. So again, big thanks to everyone that supported me so far, and I'll catch all of you in the next video.